All right. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Creating a Culture of Wellbeing. Today, on our episode number 3. And we've already started the conversation actually backstage. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Creating a Culture of Wellbeing. I don't know what today on our episode
I
number
would say you probably have LinkedIn
we've
open
already started
on
the
another tab.
conversation actually backstage. Yeah, hello, I think I'm hearing a lot of. Okay.
There you go. Done.
No more me in so many voices. Okay.
You see, but that's actually a good lesson or segue because stuff happens sometimes and it's important to just move on and just do what you got to do and not beat yourself up over it, right?
Absolutely. So here's
Well,
us
thank you.
not beating ourselves up. I don't know what that was, but hey, glad it's sorted out. And hey, we wanted to make this a conversation, first of all, about what it really takes during the holiday season, especially where we were just talking about so many different perspectives that we're getting, so many different feelings that we're feeling during this time of the year, and how it's easy to assume that, I kind of know what people are going through, but do we actually 100% know what they're going through? And just look at what is it that makes us feel better during the holiday season, and that's the conversation that we want to have. So for anyone who's joining us live, let us know, first of all, where you're joining from, and what is your perspective on how you can support employees during the holidays. And yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
Oh yeah. No, I was just gonna say, chime in on the conversation, please, because that's what we want. We want to have a conversation here. And the last time we had a great conversation. So if you missed any of the last two, make sure to go check them out. But I know before we hopped on live, one big thing we were talking about was this time of the year, especially, like, I find I almost feel like there's a bit of it's coming to a close, you know? And so, not that my energy is less, but I feel things sort of cluing up, winding down. Um, and I've decided to give myself permission this year, come, basically by the end of tomorrow. Um, I'm giving myself permission to take 2 weeks off, right? But then I said, too, it's almost like the little devil and the angel on your shoulder from Bugs Bunny or whatever it was. I think it was Bugs Bunny when I was a kid. Um, and how it's like, oh, but there's one more LinkedIn post that you need to put out, right? But on this side, my kids are only going to be young for so long. You must spend time with them. Oh, but right, and so it's finding a way to reconcile that in your own head,
Mhm.
um, which I know. I think I found that easier when I was an employee. It's a little bit harder now as a business owner. Um, and but I mean, in order to be at our best, like, you need to take time off, you need to take care of yourself, so that you can be refreshed then to get going in the new year, right? What do you think, Roxana?
Well, and that's what we want to talk about, because we talk about that, how we need to take care of ourselves, and then we forget how to actually do that. I find too.
Yes.
And just to remind everyone here where we started from, and we started from looking at workplace well-being, and, to be honest, well-being in general, from all of these dimensions. And why we're showing this to you is because they are so very tightly related to the top well-being issues that people mention during the holiday season, that we're going to show you next. But they all connect to all of these dimensions: the physical, mental, social, financial, and career well-being. So here are some stats, and from some top issues that people report when it comes to well-being, and these are combined from the American Psychological Association, Cigna, National Retail Federation. So these are mostly from organizations from the US, but also they considered all other areas as well. When it comes to the top well-being issues that are being reported, I don't think anyone is surprised really by what we see here
Yeah.
when we talk about all of these.
Yeah, and I think one thing to remember too, like sometimes there can be so much pressure on it being a happy time and it being a fun time, and that can be pressure, especially if you're dealing with something like financial strain or perhaps a loved one passed, or um, maybe you're at a place where it's like you're not happy, like maybe you're in a job where you're not happy and there's this weird expectation that you have to join in on all this stuff and it doesn't align with you. um so I mean there could be a lot going on, a lot to unpack there, right? And what a lot of people feel is or should be a happy time isn't always, right? And
Mhm.
how you deal with that and how you might support your employees in that.
And it's I think, some of exactly what you said. It should be a happy time, and there's already that expectation. Hey, this should be a happy time, and even
Mhm.
more so, it should be the happiest time of the year.
There's songs about it.
Right? There's songs about it. So it's so much ingrained in how we're supposed to feel about the whole period. And I'm not saying, well, of course, like that brings a certain level of joy and happiness, and but it also comes with the reverse of that it's probably also a lot of mixed feelings about,
Mhm.
oh, this is where a time that I used to celebrate with my entire family as a kid and now I'm not, or right now is not. And especially now when I look at the level of, for example, financial stress and
Mhm.
financial strain that people are going through. When we look at workplace insecurity, there are a lot of people who don't know what's next for them, and that also takes a toll. And it's this polarity that you and I were discussing backstage as well,
Yeah.
between how we're supposed to feel because the because the songs say so, because the legend says so, and how we're actually feeling, and um, reconciling the should with the actual reality of what each of us is going through. And we're not maybe all going through all of these top issues, but I can imagine that we might pick and choose and make our own mix of
Well,
where
that's
we.
the thing. It's like a continuum, so it's like you could be anywhere on this line. Like maybe you're closer to one end, maybe you're closer to the other end, but most people are somewhere in between. And wherever you are is wherever you are. But the important part is, taking care of your own health and well-being, mindset, whatever. But also, yeah, for employers to see what your employees need and to support them wherever they are. And, where you are is okay. You don't, this doesn't like you don't need to live up to
Mhm.
expectations that this has to be a perfect season or whatever. Your season is your season, and that's where you are, you know?
Yeah. And talking about, your season is your season, just looking at some of the stats around, let's take New Year resolution.
I
Um,
hate New Year resolutions. I hate 'em.
so here are some stats for us to look at. So when we talk about top goals, these might be interesting to look at. Um, and okay, it feels like the majority of us feel pressured to set the
Yeah,
New Year's resolution, like just like we feel
especially women.
pressured to have a happiest time during the
Yeah.
holiday season.
Yeah. And I think most of those resolutions are wellness, weight loss, physical activity.
Mhm.
Um, they're all physical health. Well, I mean, you can see there,
Yeah.
like you can see improved diet, weight loss,
Yeah.
fitness, physical and mental health, so most of them are physical and mental health related.
Mhm.
Um, but unfortunately, I think this slide comes, I think this comes up in a bit. Unfortunately, it's not always realistic.
Yeah, exactly. Like when we look at, and here's the thing that makes it even, less realistic. When we look at what people say about accountability, especially because what we see here is okay, so 29% of people say that their resolution will have a positive impact over 1 or 2 years. 57% say that the impact is going to last for 3+ years.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, only 20% of them say that they're going to hold themselves accountable to
Yeah.
stick to their goals, which is, and this is compared to last year, where 77% of people said they would hold themselves accountable. So when we come to accountability, to really take that resolution and stick with it and make it happen, it's really low. 20% is not very much.
It's very low, and that drop is telling.
Mhm.
But I don't know if people are just starting to figure it out and learn now. But I mean, the fact is, like, the stats are out there that I think it's like 73% of, I don't know, the vast majority of New Year's resolutions fail by like February, March,
Yeah, here's the stat.
you know? Yeah.
So the average resolution, yes, it lasts for 3.74 months, which I think it's a little bit more than than February, but
February, March. Yeah,
okay.
that would be about, say, March, April, right?
So yeah,
Um,
okay. First,
yeah.
somewhere in the first quarter, we drop it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason is because they're likely not good, like they're not done properly. There's a
Mhm.
way to, it's called SMART goals, and people can look them up. But there's a way to design your goals or your resolutions so that they would be more likely to succeed. But most people don't do that. Most people say, "Oh, I want to lose the weight this year." Right? Well, I mean, that's not an achievable goal,
Mhm.
because you're not setting a good goal, and humans don't like to change.
Yeah.
It's one thing, like our bodies, our minds, they don't like change. And so trying to change it is a bit like an uphill battle for a period until you get used to the new habit change.
Mhm.
So instead of having New Year's resolutions, it's better to become a student of habit change.
I like that, and
Yeah.
it's interesting when I look at the average resolution and how long it lasts, and what you just said about habits. um, you know what they say, it takes about 3 weeks to
More
form
than
a
that.
new habit,
More
but
like
it
6
actually
weeks.
takes 90 days
Yeah.
to embed a new habit in our lifestyle and in our
Yes.
schedule. So that's what we see here. Like if you think about 90 days, that's approximately 3 months. So
Yep.
that's where we actually don't do a good job at embedding that habit, which we form during the 3 weeks. But then, because many other things happen, um, we don't really go to the next level of
Yeah.
accountability to embed it during the 90 days. And that's where we are with the resolutions. And so, because we said we would want it to be a conversation around what we can do, um, what is something that has helped you take some of the pressure off when you think
Yes.
about yourself or people that you work with or people around you, your family? What have you seen? What do you do? How do you do it?
So for anybody who's watching live, feel free to answer in the
Mhm.
comments, or if you're watching the replay, post it in the comments, and we'll come back and we'll read them and respond to them. I know for me, you know, I think having conversations,
Mhm.
um, talking with people, that's a big thing because, and like talking with them one on one and creating a safe space so that they'll be open to having a conversation. Because I mean, you don't know what's going on with somebody in their own life, and if if say it's an employee, right? One of your employees or coworker. I mean, it doesn't have to be employee employer relationship. It could be coworker relationship. But if you have somebody in your workplace who um, is going through something, you want them to be able to come and feel comfortable having a conversation with you or a coworker or whomever, without feeling judged. Because, like I said, I mean, whether it's, you're under financial strain, right? Or they're under financial strain, or, I mean, imagine now someone's under financial strain. They're nervous about even being able to provide Christmas presents or even say food for their own family. Meanwhile, there's the expectation that um, there's going to be a gift exchange,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? Or they're going to um you're going to have a potluck where that person
Hmm.
has to contribute. I mean, who really feels comfortable going and saying, I really can't afford that right now, and so
Yeah, I find that too, and especially with that, and also if we think about workplace, a lot of it's party time
party
during
time.
this time of the year, and a
Yep.
lot of people. And if you think about all of the changes that the workplace has been through, so there are a lot of people who live pretty far away from the place where they're supposed to go party, for
Mm-hmm.
example, and I was, talking to someone, and she was pretty new in the workplace. She was just, it's her first year with that particular company. But really, it was just, for example, for her, it was more about realizing, hey, that's actually a lot of pressure on me to comply with that. I don't feel comfortable driving all the way there and then all the way back there. I'm not, for me, this is not the happiest time of the year. It's also, the busiest time of the year, and so on. So just realizing, hey, that's actually a lot of pressure. And it's actually, I have to find a way to express that. So
Mm-hmm.
she did, and she
That's
just
good.
said, okay, like, but it's also, I think, part of that, it's also is also sharing that that's okay to do it, and also from the employer's perspective, to think about, to assume best intentions, and not become immediately judgmental that, oh, that means that that person doesn't want to get integrated into the workplace, or they don't like working here, or they don't appreciate what I do for them, or they don't do this, they don't do that. But just take the pulse, or look at it as taking the pulse from people, so that you know what works best during this time of the year.
Yeah. I mean, another thing too, like, and I mean, I know we could talk for hours on
Mhm.
different issues, but I mean, other things too that you might see are maybe there's a variety of beliefs and religions
Yeah,
in your
yeah.
company. Maybe there's a variety of lifestyles. Like maybe you've got some people who don't drink or who are trying to um, eat more real food, and then they show up to a potluck and they're like, oh, well, like this doesn't align with my life goals,
Exactly.
you know? And then they feel like they're obliged or expected to participate, right?
Mhm.
And so, I mean, and I'm not saying that you can't do these things. What I'm saying is it's important to be open to having these conversations and trying to work with everybody for a collaborative goal, especially around this time of the
Yeah.
year, so
Mhm.
that things can, work for the best, right?
Exactly.
Realizing that, like I said, if somebody is currently dealing with a sick family member who maybe isn't going to make it till the end of the year, they are not probably going to be in the mind frame. Maybe they need a distraction, maybe they just need understanding and support, right?
Mhm.
But opening up that conversation um, of how to best support them is the best thing to do.
And what I find, and it made me think about, just hearing what you were saying. It just made me think about, one way of taking some of the pressure off is just have a little bit more clarity about what's expected, or what we would be expecting. Because one of the reasons I was smiling when you were mentioning potluck and people not finding the kind of food that they wanted to find, is just what I find is a lot of employees have kind of adjusted their expectations when they go to a party or a potluck or whatever it is. That, and one of that being, well, I'm not going to expect that I'm going to find the food that I like. So I will just eat at home and then see what I find there, if there's anything for me that I can eat. So on the one hand is adjusting that, but also thinking about, well, do we know our people? Do we know, just knowing your audience? So for an employer, that would be, do we know our employees, and do we know their preferences? And when we organize something like that, so that's it's not supposed to be a one-way street, I guess.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say, is just, okay, if you're going to have people and you're asking them to adapt, then what are you adapting to as
Yeah.
well, and how can we meet each other in the middle?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What's the next question that
So
you
one that I was really interested to hear from, and just to, now we're going
it's a
to
good
make it a
segue.
conversation between the two of us. But also, if you're joining now, feel free to share what is helping you feel included and supported during this time of the year. Um, what is it for you? Is there anything that you find is most helpful for you, Kelly?
Yeah, so and like I said, anybody who's watching now, please jump in on the
Mhm.
conversation. Um, or if you're watching the replay, make sure to post and we'll come back and we'll chat about it. But you know, I guess for me, I'm very, very lucky and appreciative of the fact that I have a very close family. Um, so I lean into that support. Some people don't have a close family, but they've got a really great friend network,
Mhm.
you know. Um, for some people, their coworkers are their friends, and that's their network, you know. So if you have a community, that's that is the best thing, you know. If you don't have a community, and unfortunately there's a lot of people in this world that don't, um, you know, trying to find that community. I mean, I know I was talking to a lady the other day and she said, you know, her and her family moved here a number of years ago now, but she never really developed that community. And she's not estranged from her family, but not close to her family who's away. Um, and so she feels like, you know, she finds it hard. She's got her kids, she's got her husband, but she doesn't have that really tight knit community here, you
Mhm.
know? And so Christmas can be a bit lonely
Yeah.
for her, you know? Now, I mean, some people do other things, they fill it other ways where, like, maybe that family. I've heard a lot of people lately are going to Florida for Christmas. That seems to be a thing. Um, but, you know, it's, I guess for me, it's reaching out to family, friends. Um, I'm quite busy Christmas time with family stuff,
Mhm.
and even like with my kids, well, so I here's the nerdy part coming out now. Um, I've started playing D&D again, right? Dungeons and Dragons. And anyways, I've been talking to my kids about it. Now they want me to run a game for for them. So we'll see how that goes because I've never run a game before, but I'm hoping it being like a kid game, it'll be okay. But I mean, maybe that'll be a new tradition, right? Like traditions don't need to be old traditions. They can be, you can always have new traditions, you
Yeah.
know. So
You can create
so
new ones for sure.
yeah, yeah, you know.
Mhm.
So I mean, being around people, reaching out to people, um getting that support. And you know something, if you don't have that good community, trying to find a good community or finding somebody to talk to or finding support somewhere. There are organizations, you know, that support. So it's just figuring out where you can find that community and that support, because especially where the, like, it's getting colder, the days are getting shorter. It's really really important this time of the year because I mean a lot of people suffer with seasonal effectiveness disorder,
Yeah.
um especially where I'm from, where you don't see the sun for like months on end.
Okay.
No,
So
not that much. That much. That's an exaggeration. Feels like that sometimes, but
let's see. Exactly. It's not what it is in reality, it's how it feels.
yeah,
So,
exactly,
mhm.
exactly. You know, so it's yeah, it's just trying to figure out what do you need and finding a way to do it.
Mhm. Yeah. And I find, like for me, thinking about it, there's so many things that we do differently, and at the same time trying to keep some of the stuff that we're used to, because we moved to Canada in 2017. So before that, we used to have all of these family Christmases with a lot of members of the family around. Well, since we came here, we lost a few members in the family back home. So I realized it wouldn't have felt the same, but at the same time, I do miss my family, especially in this during this time of the year. Um, but what I've noticed is, so we're keeping some of our traditions, and especially when it comes to food, I find that that's a lot of,
It's
yeah, we need to,
important.
yeah, because we connect, and it smells like home. But also, what I find is that balance between the need to connect with other people and the need to connect with myself too.
Yes.
So I would have, and one of my expectations during the holiday season, and especially between that week between Christmas and the New Year, is that I'm gonna sleep in most of the days. But there are days when I just wake up in the morning, and this has been happening for the past few years now, where I just wake up at 7:30 in the morning, and I actually enjoy my time as and spend that time to just read something, or do stuff that I enjoy doing. Go for a run, not outside because it's Canada and it's cold, but inside, just going for a run on the treadmill. But that is just where I feel that, that's quality time spent for me, that's helping me recharge differently, and then
Yeah.
spending some of that quality with my family and my friends as well. So because sometimes I feel like we might overcompensate or overplan. Oh, we are supposed to go here, do that, do everything that we haven't done during the year. But
Yeah.
I find that no, that doesn't. I found out a long time ago that that never works. It doesn't work for now. It doesn't work for any vacation that we're taking, where we're expecting, oh, we're gonna do everything and have the happiest time ever. Just enjoying the
Yeah.
small moments, I guess.
Yeah, you don't want to have a vacation after your vacation.
Right? Exactly. That's
You don't want to have to need a vacation after
yeah,
your vacation. Maybe that's what I should say.
true.
A vacation after vacation might be okay, but you don't want to have to need that. No, and that's very true. Yeah, because I mean, I guess you must have, I guess when you moved here, I'm sure you still have friends and family back
Mhm.
home, but um, they're not close. And I'm sure you've, gotten new friends and you've got your
Exactly.
family
Yeah.
that is here and stuff. And that's wonderful, but I can certainly appreciate how it can be difficult, but I definitely agree, like what do you need to refill your own
Mhm.
energy and soul and um like I mean for me it's taking baths, it's playing D&D, it's
Yep.
doing the Christmas decorations, um
Watching
but
Christmas movies.
watching Christmas music movies,
Yeah, exactly.
um right, and it's what refills your cup,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
mean spending some time with my family that helps to refill my cup, like we've got our few things that we do, um you know especially like Christmas Day, Boxing Day, Christmas Eve, we're usually together, and then we'll go see my husband's family, might see a few friends, but then you do also need some downtime
Mhm.
too, and everybody's different things recharge different people.
Yeah,
Like
I
for
agree.
me, sitting in the bathtub recharges my batteries. you
There you
know
go.
some people hate that, I mean even just going, yeah, if I go to the gym or go out and get some fresh air, petting my dog, like it doesn't have to be anything big or expensive. I know in last year we took the kids to see the lights in a local park, right? And because they've got like one of the parks here, they've got it all decorated really nice and festive and stuff like that, and I mean that doesn't actually cost anything, but the kids love it, and it's beautiful and you get some fresh air. So
Mhm.
like it's just deciding how you refill your own cup and doing a little bit of both, right? But having
Mhm.
boundaries, if you can't, like there was something this year I was like, I had to say to my family, I'm sorry, we can't do it this year, um but we'll be there next year, and that's it. Like, so it's really a balance between boundaries, what lights you up, um, what community things are beneficial for you and your family,
Mhm.
and finding a good mix of all of those.
And understand, because when you said, understanding what lights you up, and understanding that what lights you up might not light other people up, and that includes family members. Because if I think about
Yep.
what lights me up, and about, if I'm going to suggest to my kids to go out for, I don't know, a hike, or just go out with us
Yeah.
right now, they're probably not gonna, they're gonna say no, pass. um but just understand also where you can compromise, I think. For
Yeah.
me, one of the things that I've learned to do, and it's still a work in progress, but I'm getting better at it, is just when we talk about, okay, what are we going to expect? um, and just say, okay, let's say for on that day we're going to do this. And I just learned that communication and letting people know about, okay, this is what we want to do, this is what we're going to do, and there's no way any of us is getting out of it. But then, um what would you like to do? Just have that give and take. And I find that compromise, especially during this time of the year, is particularly useful.
Yeah. But then make sure you set your own boundaries as well, like,
Yeah.
so these are things that I'm not willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to say no. If you don't have, if you're partied out, or I don't know, say you don't drink, or, um, whatever, like, it's okay to say no,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know?
um I find that that's probably one of the things that's hardest to learn how to do, and especially to do during this time of the year, when we're looking at, oh, you know what, I don't want to hurt people, I don't want to hurt their feelings. And it brings me back to, there's actually a documentary, a short documentary that I shared a while back about managing agreement,
Mm.
where and it's called the Abilene paradox, where just because people agree to do one thing doesn't mean that they actually want to do it. And you might end up agreeing to do one thing just because you want to be nice and not,
Yeah.
but nice is not the same as kind. So I want to be nice, and just, I think I'm not hurting your feelings. But because I agree to do something, you're going to feel obligated to agree to. And we're going to end up agreeing to do something that none of us wants to do.
Yeah.
And at the end, we might feel, oh, well, why did you say that you wanted to do it? Because I said I wanted, because you said you wanted to do it. And so, be mindful and think about what might be your Abilene when, especially right now, because sometimes managing agreement might be even more difficult than managing conflict, because you don't even know that that's a fake agreement that you need to be managing, that people actually
Mhm.
don't agree.
That's really true, because I mean, how many things is it like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta do this. I don't really want to, but
Mhm.
it's expected of me,
Yeah.
or so and so did something, so I guess, now that they need something, now I got to, but
Mhm.
maybe, maybe sometimes it's better to say, I just don't have the capacity for that right now, or this is something that just doesn't really align with me. Um, if if somebody offers something to me, I assume that they truly want to do it.
Mhm.
But the paradox of that is, asking somebody to do something, I would hope that if they said yes, they really wanted to do it. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
Um, and so it's really, I think people learning boundaries is a very important thing, because I don't want somebody doing something for me if they don't truly want to do
Mhm.
it,
Yeah.
and I would hope that they would say no kindly,
Mhm.
um, because I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
that is, and what you said here is, I'm going to build on that because it's important when we talk about the workplace, how we think about it, because that's part of the culture. Like, if that's an expectation of how we're going to work together, that means that, I'm going to expect you to tell me when you agree that you're really going to agree. You don't feel like you have to agree
Yeah.
because you don't feel safe, because you don't feel like you can trust me, because of all of these reasons that, for which we talk a lot about the lack of psychological safety in teams. So that's part of, setting the ways of working, and this is how we do things, and this is what we would expect, so
Yeah.
that we don't have to manage agreement later.
Yeah. Yeah. You know?
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, okay, we didn't have people joining the conversation live. I think, part of managing our expectations for December the 19th, when, a lot of
I think
people
Toy
are
Story's slowing
already
down.
starting to take some time off. But whenever you're catching this, we would really love to hear your takes and your views on all of these questions that we just discussed, on the stats that we shared, or anything that comes to your mind, because we really feel that having a conversation about how we look at this, especially this period, in many different ways, and what might help each of us feel included and supported during this time, that's also good to know for when we go through all of the other main events of the year. And they don't have to be big events, but when we have an important team meeting at work, what helps us feel that we're included and motivated and engaged in that conversation. Um,
So,
so
I have
I
a
go ahead.
Spidey friend.
Ah,
I'm just
who
going to put him aside
introduce us?
because spiders are my friends, but I don't want him landing on me. So, I
Okay.
don't know where he went. Yeah, I save spiders because they get the bugs I don't like. But I don't want him walking on me.
Part of the an unexpected guest on our live today.
Right? Little Spidey friend.
Okay.
Yeah, so um
I
oh,
wanted
where was I
to
gonna say
ask
with that?
you, about your free corporate wellness guide, if you can tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so this is great, especially going into the new year and companies planning out their next year and stuff. I have a free corporate wellness guide. It's just at the top of my page. You'll see free corporate wellness guide. My website's nerdmomnutrition.com, and it's /strategies. And basically, I cover 6 wellness strategies from different high performing companies. So it's a great opportunity for you to get some ideas for how to support your own company's health and wellness. I know something in the new year, we're gonna come back in the new year. So we would certainly love for anybody to reach out to us. Let us know some things that you want us to discuss. What do you need to learn? And we will talk about some new stuff in the new year. How about you,
Sure.
Roxana?
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that in the new year we can dive deeper into um, well-being at work, from all of these different dimensions that we're talking about, when it comes to mental, physical, social, financial, and career well-being. So if we have anyone who is an expert in one of these areas and would like to join us for the live, just let us know as well. But also, I'm really curious to hear from people who are watching us either live or watching the replay, and not just this one but the previous episodes too. What would you like to dive deeper into? that might be more helpful for you over the next year, especially when it comes to the workplace. Because I find there's a lot of discussions around well-being in the workplace, but as the case with anything, really, when we talk about well-being, we need to really know exactly what we're talking about. So define it and go specifically into different areas. And that can be a pretty vast topic. So that's why we'd love to hear from you and what you want to dive deeper into. And yeah, for me, I wanted to remind people, because I've shared, I think, pretty much everywhere, the 10 days of leadership development giveaways. There's still you can still hold the discounts if you just message me or email me by midnight today. um, and some of them are free. So if you want to check personalskillscoach.com, you will find all of the 10 days of giveaways on my website. Some of those giveaways are free. Some of them are discounted 90%. Some of them are discounted 50%. But just know that you can hold your discounts if you're interested. So let me know. With that, again, opening the invite for you all to join us in January of next year. And whatever you do, make it a joyful and fulfilling time for yourself. I think that's probably the best wish that I can think of, apart from happy New Year and a very successful 2024. Of course, we wish you a lot of success in the new year.
Yeah. Happy holidays, everybody. And again, we would love to hear from you. So just let us know if any of this resonated with you and what your thoughts are, and take some time for yourself. Get some R&R, recharge.
Exactly. As one of my kids says, whatever fills your bucket.
I love that. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Talk to you in the new year. Thank
Yes,
you,
we'll
everybody.
talk to you soon. Bye.